YouTube? It's Chris from Out West with Chris, and as you can see from that little intro clip, I spent a little bit of time this past weekend at the International Sportsman's Expo in Sacramento. It was a pretty cool show. There was quite a bit of stuff out there. I mean, it was a huge show, just tons of stuff. Hunting related, camping, you know, RVs, fishing, boats, kayaks, just all sorts of stuff. They did seminars, and I went to a seminar hosted by the folks from Headwaters. One of their employees, Matt, did a seminar that I went to. But there were seminars on fly fishing, bass fishing, fishing from kayaks, how to rig kayaks, you know, just all sorts of stuff. And overall, it was a pretty cool event. There was a ton of people there. I mean, so crowded that you could barely move at points through the little alleyways between the booths. And that got a little bit annoying. I'm not a big crowd person. And there were quite a few different vendors. There were a lot of guide services, whether it was hunting or fishing guides. That's not really my thing. I like to do my own thing kind of, but I have gone on guided fishing trips. I mean, if you're gonna ocean fish and you don't own a big ass boat, you're most likely gonna be going out on with a guide, with a, you know, renting a seat on a boat. So I get that. And if you're gonna be fishing in an area that's totally new to you, it's probably worth it to spend money on a guide your first time just to see how those areas fish, you know. But anyways, there were a ton of hunting guides there, a ton of fishing guides. There were some pretty cool vendors there. There was a jerky vendor, tasted a bunch of the jerky. I got the card, I didn't buy any while I was there. You know me, I like my jerky. But I also think that some of the best jerky in the world is the stuff that I make, personally. I know I'm probably pretty partial to that, but there's just something about making your own stuff. It seems to taste better when you do, I guess. While I was there, I did pick up a few things, and I'll just kind of go over those right now and talk about them. So one of the items I got was this swim bait, and this is from Biwa. I don't know if I'm saying that right, probably not. Why do they always make their names so funky? It's a 7.5. This is a kind of like a bluegill pattern for this little swim bait. I'm pretty excited to throw this here in a few months and see if I can latch into some decent sized largemouth with it. Anyways, I don't have any really big swim baits. I didn't want to go buy a huge one. You know, one of the trout swim baits that, you know, they throw up in some of the lakes, you know. Didn't really want to get any of those, but I thought this was pretty cool. I'm excited to try it out. It was like 12 bucks at the show, $12, $13, something like that. Also at the show, I stopped and I talked to the folks at Raptor Razor. And if you've watched any of the recent videos, you know that I've been kind of messing around with some of their gear. I got some of their stuff in a Outdoor Box Club shipment, and talked to them for a little bit. I tried to buy some extra blades that would fit on the Mako. There's a bone saw blade and a fillet blade that fit on the Mako, and I thought about picking them up, but they didn't have the fillet blade, and they said that, you know, it's available online. So I'm going to be picking one of those up online, testing that out, playing with it. And I wanted to pick up the big game skinner, the Talon hook thing, but they only had them in package deals. So I wasn't able to, I didn't need another Mako, so I didn't want to spend that money. I figured I'd just buy it online, single, and go from there. So as I was walking around, I came across this this booth where a guy was using a ferro rod and a striker to start little fires on his booth. And it caught my eye. You know, I'm kind of into that type of stuff. And I stopped and I watched, and then I talked to him, and he gave me permission to film him. So let's check it out.
Fires. It's a man-made flint on one side, magnesium on the back. The wood from the handle gives you that option of tinder. So here you can have the option of shaving tinder from the handle, demonstrating that anything that's fine and dry, you can light with just a spark. Or gas, propane stove, just a spark. When things are more difficult to light, turn it over, peel the magnesium shavings from the back. So that's the metal that burns super hot. So if you need more heat, peel these metal shavings from the back. Shave those, ignite that with the spark from the flint. Over 5,000 degrees of heat. So that helps get the fire going when matches can't. Get them at survivalfire.com.
Survivalfire.com?
Survivalfire.com.
Okay, cool. Sweet. Thank you. So when I was done listening to them and after I recorded them, I went and bought one. And this is the medium size Strike Master survival tool. And these are pretty cool. They have a ferro rod on them and magnesium on the backside. That bright part is the magnesium. You can use the handle itself and shave wood shavings off, as he showed in his little video. But these look really cool, and it was only like $13 for this. And that's a pretty decent, you know, fair price, I think, for something of this quality. And it seems like it's pretty good quality. So I'm gonna take it out really quick and show you what I'm working with here. So what you do is you go and you shave some shavings of the magnesium off, and they shave right off with this little, the striker that's included. Okay, so I got some, bring it into kind of a centralized pile, and you just go like this. See, there it goes, starting up. Lit. There we go. Super bright, super hot. But yeah, I thought that this was a really cool tool, and excited to add it to my arsenal of gear for fire starting. So really happy to see that at the show and chat with the guy and, you know, all that. I'll probably do a full review on this item sometime in the future. So there was also a company called Wilderness Pack Enterprises. I think that was the name. And they had backpacks and, you know, stuff like that for hauling out big game after you harvest an animal. And one of their products was these. And if you know anything about game bags, you got to have a big heavy-duty game bag for elk. Some of the thin game bags, they just tear apart. They're not big enough for a quarter, and they rip easily. So this is 4 heavy-duty canvas game bags. And the nice thing about these is they're reusable. You can wash them. And you got to make sure you dry them really well, or else they can start to get, you know, mildew, just stuff like that, mold on them, just like any canvas will. But I thought that these were freaking awesome. So I picked them up. They were 40 bucks, so each bag cost about $10, which for a good elk bag, you know, that's a pretty fair price. So pretty excited about these. They look like they'll be the right size. The biggest purchase I made was a new fishing rod. Still got the tackle warehouse, fisherman's warehouse thingy on it. But I bought a Phoenix M1, and they even threw in a little hat. So I'd been hearing a lot about Phoenix rods. They're a little bit expensive. This rod was just shy. It was under $200, so it was between $150 and $200. So it's the Phoenix M1, the nanotube technology, which I don't really know exactly what that means. This is an extra fast action. It's the MX728. So it's a 7-foot 2-inch bait casting rod, and so far it just looks gorgeous, and I'm excited to go try it out. I'm gonna pair it with a Daiwa Tatula, forget which one, 7.3-to-1 Tatula, I think it is, or 7.2-to-1, I can't remember. But I'm gonna put a Daiwa Tatula on it. I'm gonna use it for some topwater stuff, and maybe for some flipping and pitching a little bit. Nothing, no huge punching or anything like that, but I think it'll be pretty good. So I'm excited to get this out on the water and try it out. In fact, I might go today for a little bit and just make a few casts and just see how it does. I'm pretty excited to use it. One of the coolest items I saw was this, kind of was like a tent trailer, but it didn't really pop up, but it was a camping trailer, and it was so cool. I'd seen videos of these before, like on Facebook, people sharing them and stuff, and they're just crazy awesome. This one was called the American Conqueror or North American Conqueror. And I mean, they're not cheap at all. I mean, they're really expensive for a camp trailer, but I mean, they just look badass. So I looked around in that, thought that was pretty cool. Like I said, I spent some time over at Headwaters Kayak, and there were just a ton of other cool booths out there. Had a really good time at the show, and next year I'll probably be heading back. Pretty cool place. They had some decent deals. One thing that, you know, I did notice is just a ton of outfitters from all over the place, whether it was hunting or fishing. And that stuff, I mean, you know, I didn't really stop and talk to too many of them. I stopped and talked to a few of them, don't get me wrong, just to kind of shoot the shit, but, you know, didn't really have any intention of doing any guided hunts or guided fishing trips this year. So I'm going to provide a link in the description below to the International Sportsman Expo's website. They do 4 of them a year, I believe. This one was Sacramento, but I think they do one in Denver. They might do one in Utah someplace, and they do one somewhere else. I can't remember, but you know, if you're in the area of one of these, check them out. Lots of vendors and some pretty cool stuff. So I highly recommend them. I had a blast going to it, and I'll probably be going back next year. So if you liked the video, please click the thumbs up button and subscribe. And as always, thanks for getting out west with Chris.